I'll now ask Mr. Robert Rodriguez to take over the meeting from Social Security.
Thanks, Rob. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And what I want to do today basically is I want to give you an overview, and Rob had reached out to me some time back regarding coming out to speak to you guys, basically about two provisions in the law. One of them is called Windfall Elimination Provision. The other one's called Government Pension Offset. So let me go into the slideshow. And again, as I go along, please, feel free to take and ask me questions, okay? Again, I have no hesitation with that. So let me talk about this first one right here. This is one of the principal ones that impacts you, okay? This is how this Windfall Elimination Provision works, okay? You started working as a teenager, okay? And you were paying Social Security. So once you've worked and you've paid 10 years into Social Security, you have your 40 credits. Now you're technically vested with us, which means that you can now get something from Social Security. Now, you switched careers and you switched gears, and now you've become either a teacher, a policeman, or a fireman, and you're not paying Social Security. Now you're paying into the municipality's pension fund, and you're not paying any Social Security. So now, you work for the municipality 15, 20, 25 years, and now you do something from the municipality. So when you come knocking at our door, okay, what's going to happen is we're going to look at your Social Security record, okay? And once we look at the record, we're going to say, oh, this person only worked about 15 years of Social Security. And when the Social Security program first began, okay, the principle was somebody who was a lower wage earner would get back a higher portion of Social Security. It was about 55%. Okay, this is what FDR had in mind. This is kind of what the principle was, okay? A lower wage earner would end up getting back a higher portion of Social Security. So when we look at your record, we're going to say, oh, this person only worked about 15 years. Let's give him or her back a higher portion of Social Security. When in fact, okay, you're working as a municipal employee, you're making a good amount of money. So what the change was, in order to eliminate you getting the advantage of getting a higher Social Security, okay, plus receiving a higher pension amount, was they instituted this Windfall Elimination Provision. So what the provision did was, we'll still pay you a Social Security check, but you will end up getting a reduced amount. Now, the most important thing right here in this computation is this right here. This 90 and this 40%. This is the slide that I want you guys to be aware of right here. And I've also brought a fact sheet that talks specifically about Windfall Elimination Provision. So, right here, Social Security coverage, okay? So let's say, for example, you worked less than 20 years paying into Social Security. You got 18 or 15 years, you paid Social Security. And then you switched gears. So the way we figure this out, we'll say, okay, if you have less than 20 years of work, then what's happening is we're going to give you your Social Security, but we're only going to give you about 40%. We're only going to give you about 40%. But let's say in the time that you still worked as a municipal employee, maybe you had a part-time job. I've seen teachers do that. Teachers work September to June. And during the summer months, they may, moonlight, or they may get these other jobs, and they're paying Social Security at the same time. So let's say, for example, you got 25 years where you worked, and you paid into Social Security, and you meet the contribution limits that there's a certain dollar amount that you have to meet each year. So if that's the case, if you got 25 years, now you're going to end up getting back about 65%. And I have seen a couple of people who have worked for, consistently paying Social Security for a lot of years, and also working as a teacher, policeman, or fireman. And sometimes they'll hit this mark up here. If you got 30 or more years where you paid Social Security, and you reach those specific marks, then Windfall Elimination Provision does not apply to you. You'll end up getting whatever your Social Security amount is, you're going to end up getting that dollar amount. If you have, again, let's say you've got 20 or 28 years, we're going to give you back about 85%. Okay? And when I've gone to events where teachers or policemen and firemen, a lot of times this is a big gripe for them. And I kind of understand that. But I personally can't change it. And the ones that would change it is that you always have to reach out to your congressmen and your senators about changing the law. And that's always been a big issue. Question?
Yeah, the 20 or fewer, that percentage did not go down?
No. It's always, 20 is always the base amount.
So in other words, whatever they said I could get at my retirement age, it should have been 40%?
Correct. When, you remember those social security statements that you were getting?
Yeah.
Years ago? Well, the social security statements, because the social security statements were, they were correct, but they were incorrect. Because they may have not recognized the fact that you were a municipal employee. So that when you come knocking at our door, we're gonna say, oh, you're a municipal employee. This is something else, this is another door that we have to open up and take a look at.
Does the windfall provision carry forward to the spouse if the husband passes away?
Windfall windfall only impacts you as an individual. It does not impact your spouse. It does not impact your spouse. But let me tell you the secondary thing that's coming up right here.
If you were allowed to pay Social Security by the town while you worked, all the time you were paying pension at the same time, windfall doesn't get involved in that, correct?
Correct. Right. If you pay Social Security, you paid Social Security all along, then the windfall wouldn't be applicable. The other thing is that some people don't understand is that you cannot have been sitting out on the beach or laying out on the beach in Fiji for the last 10 or 15 years, then come knocking at our door and say, hey, can I bring my Social Security record up to date? Can I pay it so that it's quote unquote, it's current? The law doesn't allow you to do that. In the time that you work, your employer has to have taken out that Social Security tax. Your employer, that's the only way in which you pay into Social Security.
I don't know if you answered the question about spousal benefit being based on the reduced benefit that the husband got when the husband dies, whether it's based on their full benefit they would have gotten or the reduced benefit.
Okay, it's a good question. It would be if a husband or a wife takes a benefit earlier than his or her full retirement age.
Or no, gets it reduced because they have a government pension. And then they pass, their spouse, would their benefit be based on the full amount they would have gotten or the reduced?
On the reduced amount.
Okay.
Yeah. Would be based on a reduced amount.
So it would be compared, their benefit may be more
Correct.
than what they would.
You know, in every circumstance, in every scenario, we always take a look at a person's situation. We're always digging down and asking the questions, okay? And, you know, in the course of us doing it, sometimes we do find that somebody could have been eligible going back and forth. In the New Britain office, for example, one of the claims reps was looking at a case and she said, let me dig a little bit further because she saw something. So she starts digging down further and then sure enough, it turns out that this person was technically protected on an application that was taken some years back. And so once she did everything and double checking, then this person who had made an inquiry and the claims rep was taking a look, she was due almost like a $13,000 or $14,000 Social Security check. Because we had to go back. So I always tell the person, the door's always open. If you think there's a miscalculation or that we missed something, you say, hey, can you look at my record so that we can rectify this? And we'll look at it for you and then we'll give you a reply.